When you start searching for self-discipline advice online, you'll likely encounter two polar opposites on one side. There's gentle advice like be kind to yourself, start small, or it's okay if you don't make it today. On the other side, there's unrealistically harsh advice like if you miss a workout, punish yourself with 500 push-ups in the snow. Neither of these extremes really works for most of us. The reason is simple: neither of these types of advice addresses the real problem. We humans don't fail at self-discipline because we don't know what we're doing or because we don't have a clear goal. We fail because our brains seek comfort, ease, and immediate pain avoidance. That's not your fault. That's the default setting in our brain biology. Our survival instincts make us prioritize what feels safe and comfortable right now, even if it's harmful in the long run. So when you promise yourself you'll hit the gym at 6 a.m., but you set your alarm next to your bed with no one checking in and no immediate consequences if you don't get up, guess what? You lie down longer and then you regret it. Your reward and punishment system is always tilted toward immediate comfort. You're not weak, you're just human. And the real solution isn't to become mentally stronger or find motivation from within. Instead, the effective approach is to make not doing the right thing so uncomfortable and inconvenient that you're forced to take action to get out of that discomfort. Once you change your environment and the rules around you, you'll find yourself automatically changing. Let's look back. Most of the things you do don't come from natural discipline. You go to work every day not because you love it unconditionally, but because getting fired would have serious consequences. You pay your rent on time not because you enjoy giving money to your landlord, but because living on the streets is worse. This shows that you already have the ability to be disciplined. You just need the right kind of stimuli and consequences to trigger it. That's the key. If you can't rely on willpower, change your environment to force yourself to comply. Discipline, after all, is not a divine quality, but a logical response to the reward and punishment system you live in. For example, if you want to wake up early but always hit the snooze button, put your alarm clock on the other side of the room. As soon as it goes off, force yourself to get up to turn it off. Leave a glass of water nearby. When you get up, drink it. Your body starts to wake up, and then getting back to bed is no longer appealing. Discipline is actually a result of systems, not personalities. And systems can be designed, tuned, optimized. Anyone can do it if they understand it properly. If you keep losing focus while working, the common advice is try to focus more. The problem is that your brain doesn't work that way. When watching a space analysis video in cars suddenly seems more interesting than the spreadsheet you're working on, you're not failing because you lack discipline. You're just a human being responding to stimuli. So instead of trying to resist temptation, eliminate it. Put your phone in another room. Turn it off completely. If you need to be more drastic, use a website blocker, but choose one that can't be easily turned off because you love it unconditionally, but because getting fired would have serious consequences. You pay your rent on time not because you enjoy giving money to your landlord, but because living on the streets is worse. This shows that you already have the ability to be disciplined. You just need the right kind of stimuli and consequences to trigger it. That's the key. If you can't rely on willpower, change your environment to force yourself to comply. Discipline, after all, is not a divine quality, but a logical response to the reward and punishment system you live in. For example, if you want to wake up early but always hit the snooze button, put your alarm clock on the other side of the room. As soon as it goes off, force yourself to get up to turn it off. Leave a glass of water nearby. When you get up, drink it. Your body starts to wake up, and then getting back to bed is no longer appealing. Discipline is actually a result of systems, not personalities. And systems can be designed, tuned, optimized. Anyone can do it if they understand it properly. If you keep losing focus while working, the common advice is try to focus more. The problem is that your brain doesn't work that way. When watching a space analysis video in cars suddenly seems more interesting than the spreadsheet you're working on, you're not failing because you lack discipline. You're just a human being responding to stimuli. So instead of trying to resist temptation, eliminate it. Put your phone in another room. Turn it off completely. If you need to be more drastic, use a website blocker, but choose one that can't be easily turned off. Set a password that someone else keeps. Make distractions annoying. Similarly, you can make quitting a good habit more financially painful. People react more strongly to losing money than to making money. This is a principle of behavioral psychology loss aversion. Try making a money bet every time you skip a workout. You lose $10 and send it to a friend. If that doesn't hurt enough, increase it to $50. There are websites that let you donate that money to organizations you hate if you fail. The pain becomes immediate. The motivation to act is created. Most importantly, the loss needs to be close enough, real enough, and not easily avoided. When your brain realizes that the cost is clear and immediate, it learns to respond differently. Gradually, the good behavior becomes a more pleasant option. Humans are social creatures. No matter how independent you think you subconsciously care about how others perceive you. This is why support groups, accountability groups, or simply study buddies work so well. If you're procrastinating on an important project, tell someone you respect about your plans and promise to update them on your progress by a certain date. Suddenly, you're not just doing it for yourself, but for social expectations and prestige. Want to quit smoking? Tell your family, friends, or a support group. Every time you pick up a cigarette, you're not only breaking a promise to yourself, but also to someone else. Failure is no longer just lazy, it's shameful. In one study, scientists found that simply having another person in the room, even if they're not doing anything, made participants perform better on a task. That's the spectator effect. You can take advantage of this by joining online group work sessions where everyone sits together and works via video. No one is forcing you, but just knowing someone else is watching is enough to keep you focused. Even something as small as changing your phone wallpaper to an image of your goal can help you stay committed. Every time you turn it on, it's a visual reminder of why you started. Your mind responds more strongly to images than words. When you design your environment so that quitting is more painful, embarrassing, costly, or inconvenient than maintaining discipline, you're acting without motivation. It's no longer a battle of wills, it's a rational choice. And that's why people who seem so steadfast are actually just living in systems that support them properly. One of the most common misconceptions about discipline is that you need to become more willful before you start making changes. But in reality, waiting until you're disciplined enough to act is like waiting until you're fit to start exercising. The problem isn't mental toughness. It's not having a strong enough support system. Willpower is just the fuel that gets you going. But what keeps you going in the long run is your environment and structure. A good system is one that helps you do the right thing without having to debate it. When the right choice becomes easy and default, you don't have to expend energy making decisions every day. For example, if you want to eat healthy, the first thing you should do is not promise to try today, but clear out the fridge of junk food. When the only thing you see in your kitchen are vegetables and eggs, you'll eat them not because you've suddenly become responsible, but because it's the easiest option. A powerful way to establish a new habit is to connect it to an existing behavior. When a familiar action is linked to a new action, the brain has less to think about. For example, after brushing your teeth in the morning, you might meditate for 2 minutes. After making coffee, you might turn on your computer and write your first few lines of work. Such habit anchors create a seamless chain of actions, so you don't have to struggle to get started. It's also important to track your progress visually. A calendar with an X for each day you do something right creates a sense of success. You don't want to break that chain because of a lazy day. The feeling of being on the right track, no matter how small, is more powerful as a motivator than any internal speech. A good system doesn't have to be complicated. Most importantly, it helps you take action even when you don't feel inspired. You don't have to want to do something if everything is set up so that you do it almost automatically. And once the right behavior becomes the default, discipline is no longer a struggle, it's just something you do every day. One of the reasons you may feel undisciplined is because you're trying to do too much while running out of energy. The problem isn't willpower, it's energy management. Everyone has times of the day when they're most alert, creative, and focused, and times when they're more sluggish and easily distracted. If you're consistently pushing yourself to do important work when your brain is most tired, your failure isn't a lack of willpower, it's a failure of strategy. Instead of beating yourself up for not being able to do it, start by observing and optimizing your own energy cycles. When are you most focused? When are you most sleepy? Schedule important tasks during your prime time and leave simpler tasks, answering emails, cleaning, taking a walk, etc., for your lower energy times. Also, understand that energy is a finite resource. If you spend all your energy making too many small decisions, what to eat for breakfast, what to wear to work, what to exercise this afternoon, then when it's time to make a big decision, like starting a project, learning a new skill, or working out, you'll be depleted. That's why the most disciplined people practice decision minimization. They eat the same thing, wear the same thing, and stick to a fixed schedule. They conserve their willpower for more important things. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of proper rest. A full night's sleep, a short walk, or 10 minutes of meditation aren't wasted time, they're a way to recharge. The body and mind need cycles of tension and relaxation. A machine that works all the time isn't more efficient, it just wears out faster. When you learn to optimize your energy rather than force yourself to work until you're exhausted, you'll find that discipline isn't a struggle, but a natural consequence of smart planning. Discipline isn't just the ability to say no to temptation. It's the ability to say yes at the right time to rest, recharge, and nourish yourself. Discipline isn't an inborn quality. It's not the ability to go it forever. And it's not the ability to read one more inspirational book. Discipline is the result of a cleverly designed system, an environment that makes the right behavior easy, the wrong behavior inconvenient, and optimizes your personal energy to stay consistent. You don't have to become a superhero version of yourself. You just have to redesign the world around you so that the behavior you want becomes the default. When your phone is away, when healthy food is right in front of you, when your friends check in on you, and when you work when you're at your most alert, you don't have to fight yourself. You just go with the flow that you've designed. And that's effective discipline. No flash, no pressure, no inspiration. Just a sensible choice repeated every day. Because in the end, discipline isn't about constant sacrifice. It's about living intelligently within a system of your own making.